Welcome to a night of total terror.
In 1968, George Romero brought us Night of the Living Dead. It became the classic horror film of its time.
We must not be lulled by the concept that these are our family members or our friends. They are not. They will not respond to such emotion.
Now, George Romero brings us the most intensely shocking motion picture experience for all time.
It gets up and kills. The people it kills get up and kill.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
First came the night, then came the dawn. Now comes the most eagerly awaited day in horror film history.
Welcome back to Thursday of the Dead. My name is Chase. This episode is a continuation of my Living Dead weekend trip, and day 2 was a much different experience than day 1 was. Claire and I packed up our stuff and left the Industrialist in Pittsburgh, checked into the Doubletree in Monroeville. After my experience getting car sick on the way back from the day before, I took some Dramamine for our ride, which worked for me. We checked into our room at the Doubletree, which is just across the parking lot from the Monroeville Mall. The Doubletree is nowhere near as nice as the Industrialist was, but that was fine. It was the proximity to the mall that was important to me. After getting situated in our new hotel, Claire and I walked over to the mall. The experience of walking the mall by myself the day before was surreal. Walking through it with Claire made the experience much more interesting as she asked me a lot of questions. There was a bit of serendipity right as we walked into the mall, or the main portion of the mall, so we ran into Paul Farver, who I saw the day before at the Dawn of the Dead panel. I introduced Claire and Paul, and she suggested that we grab lunch so we could sit down and have a chat. We agreed and we went to the Red Robin, which is just outside the mall. Paul and I caught up after knowing each other online for years. During lunch, Paul mentioned that he'd just bought a signed shell casing from Sharon Hill, and I decided I need one as well. After lunch, we walked back into the mall, and Paul led us to the dealer room that Sharon was in. Luckily, she still had another one of the framed bullets, and I paid for it. I asked for a signed photo as well. She was very friendly. Sharon was my first photo, autograph, memorabilia purchase, which worked out perfectly as I wanted to find some memento for my collection that actually came from the movie. We walked over to another dealer room where I saw a sign-up area for group photos. I decided to get the mall bench photo with the 3 main cast members from Dawn of the Dead, as well as a photo with Scott Calloway in full Flyboy makeup inside the elevator in the Living Dead Museum. Speaking of that Dawn of the Dead panel, the one on Friday, there's a photo of me in the background where someone took a selfie, and that occurred when Ken was walking through the crowd with the microphone asking for questions. I actually had a question for him, but I didn't get a chance to ask him, so I ended up hiring him via Cameo. The question that I wanted to ask Ken was based on my favorite scene in the movie, which is the basement scene. I asked him what he tapped into emotionally to get to that scene.
Hey, Jace. Well, a couple of real good questions, huh? Well, the first one about the basement scene. I'm not going to tell you what I used, but I will say this. I didn't have to use very much. It was very, very real. And all I had to do was just look around, and it was so riveting that, I could use most of that. I did use some other things, but that's an actor's secret. But, yeah, it was quite a scene. I think that was the second or third special effects shot. And the previous one to that, I think, was Bully having his head blown off, and he deserved it, so bravo for that. But it wasn't spectacular, really. But this was something it was something else. So I really remember it, and it was one of those pivotal scenes in the film for me. The other one was taken probably when we were probably 6 a.m. We we've been shooting probably for weeks and weeks, and we're exhausted, frustrated, just tired, and from all the night shooting, and it caught us just at that moment when we were just there, just trying to take a breath, and just letting it all hang out, kind of, oh boy, how much longer do we have to shoot today? So anyway, glad that you made Monroeville, glad that you had a great time. Hope that I'll see you again in Monroeville, or some of the other conventions or public appearances that I make. Or see me in film, and maybe we'll talk about that when I see you. So, best to you, Jace. Thank you for the questions, great questions, and have a great day, a great month, and a spectacular year. Talk to you. Out of here. Bye.
Tell us what you're about to go do.
About to go sit on the bench with the 3 other Dawn of the Dead cast members. I'm going to be the 4th. Basically, flyboy.
All right.
While Claire and I were standing in the line for the bench photo, someone came up to me, and it was Dave Buren. He said hello, and he and I had been on one of the Garf Network episodes, so I knew he had a really cool collection. I saw he had a bag with him, and I asked him, "What'd you bring?" He's like, "I won't show you here, but I'll show you somewhere else." And so we ran into each other a couple times, and it wasn't until maybe 2 times later that I finally stopped what I was doing and went over to see what he had in his bag. And I'm glad I did.